Hello, it's Philip Taylor from Richmond Green Chambers speaking. Good morning, and we are looking today at a review of a book from Routledge. This is the informer organisation from Taylor and Francis Group. They have produced a series of handbooks, and the one we're looking at today is the Routledge Handbook of Law and Terrorism, which is this book here. We'll have a look at the book in a minute. It's been edited by Genevieve Lennon and Clive Walker. It's a substantial work and a very useful work, I think, for criminologists and lawyers. And we've given it a review title of Comparative Insights into Global Terrorism and the Role of the Law Internationally, because that's really where we are today in 2015. I'm recording this in the autumn of 2015, and it's important for us to see where we are nationally and internationally with the subject. This is the book. It's a hardback. There's the spine and then there's the back. There's a lot of detail on the back, a lot of information about the authors as well, and it's also a book which is an e-book, so you can get it in that format as well. The back of the book has a fairly substantial index. You can see the index there. Book runs to just under 500 pages. There's a lot of information and very detailed bibliography, because this is very much a high-end user's book, if I can put it that way. There are primary and secondary sources used, so it'll be very useful in the academic community as well, of course, as for any practitioners involved. There are footnotes at the bottom of many of the pages, as you can see. If we move to the front of the book, you can see here the basic information. This is actually a statement of what's in the book, and in fact part of that is on the back as well. So you can see that. Then there's the front page there. Then after that we get in. The detail about it, everything is there for the e-book if you're interested. Then we have the contents section. It's split into various parts and then subject material. There are 30 chapters in total, and then you have the bibliography and index at the back. And each of the individual chapters is written by specific people who are mentioned, and we'll get onto that in a minute. There are the abbreviations, in case you have any problems with some of the abbreviations that are used. I certainly do, so it's useful to have it. This is the list of all the contributors. Very difficult with a compilation like this to actually name them all, but they're a very substantial number of people. You can see they're all listed there, and I'll just show all the names. I can't mention them all, unfortunately, by name, but you can see how many people are involved. It's a large number of people. And that really is the beauty of this sort of work. Then there's a preface which has been written by David Anderson, looking at the issues of terrorism and where we are at the moment. Then we get into an introduction, which is certainly worth looking at, about what the editors are trying to achieve. Triggering events is a very important phrase which you will find cropping up a lot. It started, of course, with 9/11, and since then we've had an awful lot of what are called triggering events, which then lead on to further things. There is the footnoting, you can see. Sometimes it's quite extensive, but of course what they're doing is they are producing information which I think will be most useful for members of the Criminal Bar Association in terms of counsel, and anybody involved in this area of law, to get a general understanding of where we are at the moment, but also academically for all the people involved at various levels, probably masters and PhD level, for the sort of work they may be doing on issues of terrorism in modern society. So thank you very much for the work that's been put into that. This is what we say about the book. It's a troubling reflection of the times we live in, that there's been an astounding but not surprising proliferation of scholarly works of reference and comment on terrorism. This book, published by Routledge, is an important contribution to what's a difficult subject. It brings together, as it does, the research and analysis of no less than 40 expert contributors from top universities and institutions worldwide. And in the words of Lord Carlyle, The book looks at UK counter-terrorism laws in the broadest context, and that's why I'm saying it's of use not just nationally but internationally, because we are in the global village today, and it doesn't know any barriers as such, terrorism. So that is why it's got a much greater value for us today. Throughout the book, law and policy aimed at combating terrorism is examined across a range of jurisdictions, focusing particularly on the United Kingdom, the United States of America, Australia, Canada and Europe. As terrorism has become a worldwide problem of worldwide concern, this comparative approach is both enlightening and useful, and of course most welcome. As the two editors have reminded us, and they are Genevieve Lennon and Clive Walker, counter-terrorism law and policy as a specialism has proliferated across the world in the years following the atrocities of 9/11, and the Handbook therefore addresses counter-terrorism laws across a broad range of topics. Key themes of the work include the pursuit of terrorists, including surveillance and dataveillance, and protective, notably homeland security. Each is discussed in considerable detail. Preventative measures, including the penology of terrorism and terrorism on the internet, are also discussed in some detail, and that of course is very much developing as an area as I do this review in 2015. Here we cite only a few examples which indicate the huge scope of the work. It's a thoughtful and comprehensive work, clearly. It centres on what are referred to as the 4 Ps of counter-terrorism: pursue, prevent, protect, prepare. And there's a 5th, predict. Difficult to do, yes, but doable nonetheless. There are, of course, a number of controversies centring on these issues, from the ethics of surveillance to human rights itself. And again, that will be of direct relevance to practitioners, of course. These and a broad spectrum of related areas are discussed and analysed in considerable detail, and we're very grateful to have that. The urgency of the subject and the rational manner in which the various chapters are organised definitely puts this book on the must-buy list for a wide range of interested and involved readers. That's from policymakers and officials at all levels of government to practitioners in criminal law, as well as academics specialising in counter-terrorism and security. Researchers especially will appreciate the wealth of footnoted references throughout and the extensive bibliography at the back, which points to any number of additional avenues of inquiry. And I think it's a very useful list for you if you are doing high-level academic research. And the publication date is cited at 2015. It's an excellent book, very much part of the standard set by the Routledge Handbook series. That's the back again. These books are very helpful indeed, I think, for a much wider cross-section of people. Obviously they are designed for a relatively limited field of readership, but what you do have here is a huge amount of information. For instance, you've got the handling and disclosure of sensitive intelligence. Very, very difficult area, questioning weak judicial review. The securitisation of legal systems. So the issues really are very much a balance between the state and disclosure. For instance, security inspections in the US and UK, suspicionless counter-terrorism stop and search. So you've got very much an up-to-date view of trying to look at the protection of the citizen in society, but also the protection of the rights of the citizen in society when you're looking at terrorism itself. As I say, it's a very interesting book. Do have a look at the conclusion right at the back when you've read the beginning, the introduction, because it's logically formatted and I think a very useful contribution to the current debate. This subject is not going away, unfortunately, and so we do need these books to give us some idea of where we are and what we're going to do in the future. Thank you to all concerned. Bye-bye.